Well, hello and good morning. Well, it's morning while I record this. It might be afternoon when you see this, but Thomas Edison famously, in the course of trying to invent that light bulb, found filaments that would burn really bright, but burn out very quickly. Or he'd have a filament that would last a while, but it was very dim, right? He never gave up, and he never looked at it as failure, right? He said, "Hey, I found a lot of ways that don't work," but he kept going at it, and he kept going at it, and he kept going at it. He never ever viewed it as failure. He just said, "Hey, okay, I tried this, and it did not work. I know not to try that one again. Let me try something different." And he just persevered. He kept going on.
And now...
Hey, Rocky! Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat!
But that trick never worked!
This time for sure! Presto! Well, I'm getting close.
And now it's time for another special feature.
Okay, so we're going to take another stab at it. And we'll see if I come out looking like Thomas Edison or if I come out looking like Bullwinkle J. Moose, but here we go again. Okay, so for a moment, let's pretend that this was a brand new worksheet and that I was going to try match and that every answer was going to be used exactly one time. And so I'm kind of looking at this, and when I look at those questions, I'm like, boy, I'm not too sure what to do with those questions. Right? And sometimes as a student you try to get sneaky, and it's like, oh darn it, they're all base 7. If some of them were base 3, I'd look to see what answers were base 3, or if some of them were base 5, I'd look and see what answers were base 5. But nope, they're all base 7, so just kind of some random guessing is not going to help here. And so I'm going to actually start by condensing some of the answers. I actually think it's easier to do condensing than it is to do expanding. And so let me see, A, answer A is just a 1. I don't know what to do with that. Answer B, 1 plus log base 7 of 3. Can't really do much with that either. C, plain old 0. D, hey, D looks like something we can work with, right? I know that they're both log base 7. I know there's addition in between. I know that condenses with multiplication. So let's take a look at, right? So I know that addition condenses with multiplication. So I really need log base 7, 2 times 3. 2 times 3, well, that's got to be 6. So that should be log base 7 of 6. Now, is that actually one of the choices? Yeah. How about that? So number 4 has to be D. Right? Notice I didn't start by looking at number 4 and trying to find the answer. I actually looked through the answers. I figured out answer D has to be log base 7 of 6, and I went and found the corresponding question. E. There's a 3 out in front. Oh yeah, if there's a 3 out in front, it needs to become an exponent. Right? If you look at the top of the screen to the right-hand side, that's what we have to use. Right? It'll be log base 7 and becomes 2 to the 3rd power. And of course, 2 to the 3rd power is 8. Now, before I snap down the answer, though, there's another way we could have done this. I could have said, hey, 3 times something means I'm going to add that 3 times, right? If I've got 3 times 5, it's really 5 plus 5 plus 5. So if I've got 3 times log base 7 of 2, it's really log base 7 of 2 plus log base 7 of 2 plus log base 7 of 2. And I know how to condense. If there's addition, it'll condense with multiplication. 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Right? I often say that you're not really having fun with mathematics unless you can get the correct answer using more than one method. So sure enough, question number 8 has to match with E. Okay, now we need to get a little bit more space. So I got to clear some stuff out. So now I'm going to look at answer letter G, right? Answer G. Well, I see that 2 out in front, right? 2 times log base 7 of 3. So I'm like, okay, that 2 will have to become an exponent. So that will become log base 7 of 3 squared. Notice I've not done anything with the plus log base 7 of 5 yet. 3 times 3, of course, is 9. So I can do that. And now, hey, addition will condense with multiplication. I need to do 9 times 5. So it is going to be log base 7, 9 times 5. And last time I checked, 9 times 5 is 45. And sure enough, question number 7 says, hey, who matches log base 7 and 45? So answer G has to go with question number 7. Answer I, 2. Well, you got me what to do with that thing. So let's go to answer R. Addition condenses with multiplication. We've done that before. Ooh, subtraction. If you look at the top of the screen in the middle, it reminds us that if we condense with subtraction, we have to use division. So we're actually looking at 10 times 33 divided by 22. Now I could grab a calculator and I could go 10 times 33 divided by 22 and get a lovely answer. But let's pretend for a moment that I don't have a calculator handy. Well, I know 10 is really 2 times 5. I know 33 is really 3 times 11. I know 22 is really 2 times 11. It looks like there's a 2 in the numerator and the denominator. Those will cancel. It looks like there's an 11 in the numerator and denominator. Those will cancel. So I'm left with log base 7, 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Log base 7 of 15. So question number 3 goes with answer R. Hey, I was able to accomplish half of the questions by condensing the answers. Now, unfortunately, there's some answers where it's like, hey, I don't know what to do with them. Like answer A is just a 1. Answer C is just a 0. I mean, what do you do with those? And then answer B is kind of mystical because there's a plain old 1, but then there's also a logarithm. Well, I guess I better start by looking at the questions, right? I condensed everything that was straightforward that I could understand. Now, the previous lesson, right? I'm reaching back to lesson 7.4, I believe. Evaluating logarithms was one of the things we worked with. Right? So before we talked about condensing and expanding, we had a lesson where we tried to evaluate logarithms. So let's do that. Let's try to evaluate that. Let's look at question number 1. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a name, right? Log base 7 of 21. What should I call it? Well, what do we usually call something in math we don't know? We call it x. right? So I'll say, hey, log base 7 of 21, that is x. And so that means the base is 7, the exponent is x, and that has to have a value of 21. So let me see, 7 to the first power is 7, too small. 7 squared is 49, too big. Oh man, the answer is somewhere between 1 and 2. How am I going to figure this out? Well, what do you do if you just cannot figure out a question? Let's skip it, right? Let's not spend all day on this one question. At the moment, it's not making any sense to me. So let's just leave it alone for a moment. We'll skip this one. Okay, so I'm going to look at number 2, log base 7 of 49. Again, give it a name. Let's say, hey, this is going to be equal to x. So this means that the base is 7, the exponent is x, that has to have a value of 49. 7 to some power has to be 49. Well, doesn't x have to be 2, right? 7 squared is 49. Hey, answer I. Right? That plain old 2 goes with log base 7 of 49. Okay, let's take a look at question number 5. Again, this is telling me that I'm looking at an exponent, right? Whenever I see a logarithm, I'm actually staring at an exponent. It's basically saying, hey, what's my exponent? The base is a 7, my value is 1. What's the exponent? So I give it a name and you say, hey, it's x. The exponent is x. 7 to the mystery power of x has to be 1. Well, if the value is 1, the exponent had to be 0, right? 7 raised to the 0 power is 1. X has to be 0. Hey, we are in luck. 0 is one of the choices. Answer C is 0. Question number 6. Log base 7 of 7. Again, give it a name. Let's say, hey, that's equal to x. The base is 7. The exponent is x. And 7 raised to the x power has to have a value of 7. I wonder what x is. It's got to be 1, right? 7 to the first power is 7. Hey, A is number 1, right? A is 1. So question number 6. The answer has to be A, because log base 7 of 7 is 1. Hey, look at that. What do you know for certain, huh? I mean, is this obvious or what? Your math teacher has a weird sense of humor. Look at that, 5, 6, 7, 8 spell out cage. Now, that's not how I'd try to go about doing the math, right? I would actually try to do the math, get the answers, but then when you're done, sometimes it just might spell a word, and you go, oh my goodness, it says cage. So maybe that's a way of confirming we're on the right track. Okay, now we all know there's one answer that's not been used, but I don't want to just put that letter down, right? I want to try to figure out how do I start with question number 1 and figure out the answer. If I start with log base 7 of 21, what can I do? We tried to evaluate it, and that was no good. So let's try expand it. Well, what can I do with 21? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is it is 3 times 7. And so if I expand this, it'll become log base 7 of 3 plus log base 7 of 7. And that doesn't match any answer. Right? If I'm looking at answer B, right, that's the one answer I've not used. The log base 7 of 3 is okay, but I don't see log base 7 of 7. Look at number 6. Log base 7 of 7. We know what log base 7 of 7 is. That's just a 1. Right? 7 raised to the first power gets me 7. So that's just a 1. Now, of course, addition, we have the associative property and the commutative property. So let's use the commutative property of addition, and we can rewrite it as 1 plus log base 7 of 3. That does match letter B. And so not only do 5, 6, 7, 8 spell out cage, 1, 2, 3, and 4 spell out bird. So let's put a bird in the cage. All right. So hopefully that kind of helps explain some thought processes, right? You can take some of the answers and try and condense them. Some of the questions, you can either evaluate them or you can try expand them. And when you're done, it might very well spell out a word or spell out a phrase. The previous worksheet, I think spelled out bird, fly, up, hog, eat. So imagine a bird flying around, and oh, what's the bird doing? It's going to fly up. And then a hog, great big pig, what's it want to do? Well, it's going to eat, right? So bird, fly, up, hog, eat was what the previous worksheet spelled out. But again, please don't try to like unscramble the letters to spell something. Try and go through and do the math. But when you're done, see if you can read it and see if it says anything. Or if you get super duper 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 stuck, say, you know what, I think it's supposed to spell something. Maybe I can unscramble the letters a bit. But then if I think I know what it spells, go back and see if you can justify the answer using math. So there is going to be a worksheet today. And then there's going to be IXL. The nice thing about the IXL is that, last week on Thursday, the IXL only worked with the product property, right? So it's just like, hey, if I expand, multiplication becomes addition, or if I condense, addition becomes multiplication. The IXL today only works with the quotient property. So if you see subtraction, it condenses with division. If you see division, it expands with subtraction. All right, so the IXL I'm hoping will be pretty straightforward and you'll be relatively successful with that. The worksheet, let's take another stab at it. And again, I got lots of questions on emails last week on Thursday. That was really good because that told me that students are working, and it also kind of explained to me where some of the confusion was, and so I kind of knew how to try and reteach this. So if you're successful and you get it done, fantastic, submit it. If you're confused, if you're having difficulty, if you got questions, please let me know what's going on, right? We're not going to just try and drive down this road as quickly as we can and leave people in the dust, right? If you are really trying to learn, that's my job. I've got to try to help you get there, right? I'm not going to try to abandon anybody. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you're just not catching on. Especially when the vast majority of the class was really, really struggling, right? And again, if we'd been in the classroom, it would have been obvious to me real quickly. I would have said, whoa, stop, let me try to re-explain this, or whoa, let me change the assignment. It's a little tricky doing this remotely, but you know, I'm going to keep trying to do my best. I'm hoping that you'll keep trying to do your best, and we're going to have a lot of success, right? If all of us make an honest effort every single time, we're going to make a lot of progress doing this. So keep it up, folks.